Off the southern coast of Australia, in waters cold enough to kill an unprotected human in minutes, scientists had been tracking a 9-foot female great white shark. They called her Shark Alpha. She was a textbook apex predator, healthy, dominant, moving through her territory with the confidence of an animal that had never known fear. Researchers had fitted her dorsal fin with a sophisticated tracking tag designed to record depth, temperature, and location. For months, the data told a predictable story. Coastal patrols, seal hunting grounds, the rhythms of a creature perfectly adapted to its environment. Then, the signal did something impossible. On a night like any other, Shark Alpha deviated from her pattern. The tag recorded a sudden, violent descent. Not a gradual dive, but a near vertical plunge. In seconds, she dropped nearly 2,000 feet into the twilight zone, where sunlight cannot reach. And then came the temperature spike. The water at that depth hovers near 46 degrees Fahrenheit. But the tag recorded a jump to 78 degrees, and held there for days. There is only one environment in the deep ocean that maintains that temperature: the inside of a living stomach. Shark Alpha hadn't malfunctioned. She hadn't migrated. She had been consumed. The data triggered immediate speculation. If something had eaten a 9-foot great white, one of evolution's most refined killing machines, what could possibly be responsible? Marine biologists began with the obvious suspects. A larger great white? Cannibalism exists in the shark world, but the thermal mathematics complicated this theory. To maintain a core body temperature of 78 degrees while diving through near-freezing water, the attacker would need to be enormous. Estimates suggested over 16 feet, potentially exceeding 2 tons. Such sharks exist, but they rarely hunt at those depths. Other theories emerged online. A surviving megalodon, a colossal squid, ancient monsters reclaiming their territory from the darkness. But science requires evidence, not mythology. Researchers cross-referenced the tag's post-consumption movement patterns, up and down the water column, patrolling a defined territory, with known species behavior. The profile matched one animal consistently: a massive, older great white shark. The predator that killed Shark Alpha wasn't a monster from prehistory. It was an apex version of Shark Alpha herself, bigger, older, and utterly without hesitation. In the hierarchy of the deep, size is currency. Gansby and False Bay, South Africa, were once the great white capitals of the world. Tourists traveled from every continent to witness these sharks breach the surface in pursuit of seals, a spectacle of raw, explosive power. Then, in 2017, the sharks stopped coming. Not gradually, not seasonally, they simply vanished. Hundreds of animals, gone from waters they had patrolled for generations. When carcasses finally began washing ashore, they told a story that stunned the research community. The bodies were largely intact. No massive bite wounds. No signs of prolonged struggle. But each shark was missing the same thing: its liver, removed through a precise incision between the pectoral fins. The kills weren't frenzied. They were surgical. A great white's liver can weigh several hundred pounds and comprises nearly a third of its body mass. It's saturated with squalene, a dense, oil-rich compound that provides extraordinary caloric value. To a predator capable of extracting it, the liver represents the ocean's ultimate energy source. The rest of the shark? Discarded. Too much effort for too little reward. Investigators identified 2 suspects almost immediately: port and starboard. These were not ordinary killer whales. Named for their collapsed dorsal fins, one leaning left, one leaning right, they had developed a hunting technique never before documented at this scale. Using coordinated strikes, they would ram a great white from the side, flipping it upside down. This triggers a phenomenon called tonic immobility, a neurological response that temporarily paralyzes the shark. Unable to fight, unable to flee, the great white becomes motionless. While the shark lay frozen, the orcas worked in tandem to tear open its chest cavity and extract the liver with mechanical efficiency. The precision was so exact that scientists matched the bite patterns directly to the orca's dental signatures. This wasn't instinct. It was learned behavior, a hunting technique refined and passed between individuals. The immediate kills were devastating enough, but the secondary effect proved even more consequential. When a great white dies, particularly when its liver is removed, its decaying tissue releases specific chemical compounds called necromones. These molecules disperse through the water column, carried by currents across vast distances. To a shark's hypersensitive olfactory system, this scent carries a single, unmistakable message. A predator is here that can kill your kind. The response is immediate and absolute. Every great white within range of that chemical signature, regardless of size, regardless of dominance, initiates a flight response. They don't relocate to the next bay. They travel hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles to entirely different oceanic regions. And they don't return for months, sometimes years. This is the invisible architecture of the ocean's fear network. One kill doesn't just eliminate a single shark, it clears an entire territory. Researchers observe the phenomenon in real time. Within days of a confirmed port and starboard attack, tracking data showed great whites fleeing South African waters entirely, some appearing as far away as the Australian coastline. The apex predator wasn't just being hunted, it was being displaced. The disappearance of shark alpha and the exodus from South Africa reveal the same fundamental truth. The ocean's hierarchy is not fixed. We constructed a mythology around the great white, an invincible predator, the undisputed ruler of its domain. But the data tells a different story. These animals exist in a state of perpetual tension. Larger cannibalistic sharks dominate from below. Intelligent, coordinated orcas dominate from above. And the chemical memory of death can render an entire hunting ground uninhabitable overnight. The ecological consequences ripple outward. Without great whites to regulate seal populations, mid-level predators expand unchecked. Fish stocks decline. The entire food web shifts. More troubling still, the behavior is spreading. Other orcapods have been observed monitoring port and starboard's techniques. Scientists believe these specialized hunting strategies are being transmitted culturally, taught from one generation to the next. The great white isn't disappearing because of a single threat. It's being systematically outcompeted by a predator that hunts smarter, communicates better, and adapts faster. The mystery of the vanished shark was never about finding a monster. It was about recognizing that the throne of the ocean was never secure to begin with. And somewhere in the dark, the next shift has already begun.